everyone. Welcome to the special stream from the Lamias, where I will interview Aurora about her upcoming game, Arcana Familia, which is currently on Kickstarter. So I'm Ksandra. I'm normally storyteller for the Lamias, for the Ruins of Warsaw Chronicle. And I will just be asking questions, my own and the ones that came from Aurora's Discord server. So Aurora, if you could introduce yourself and give us just a brief overview of what Arcana Familia is.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Hi, thank you for being here. I am Aurora. I normally play Mara, the sassy Nosferatu of the Ruins of Warsaw, but today I am in my serious version as a content creator and RPG author. We have currently this new project, Arcana Familia, on Kickstarter. Arcana Familia is, I wrote the setting and my co-author was in charge of the rules system. Arcana Familia is a cyberpunk game about freedom, about the price you pay for freedom, and with a very heavy horror and cosmic horror element in it. And you play either or you can play both together, actually, as let's say a special agent of a paramilitary organization, the Arcana Familia, or as a house, a supernatural creature from an unknown and mysterious dimension who had made a pact with the said agent. And these not more human agents are called lost children. So this is the very, very brief summary of the game.
Oh, that's great. And you already touched upon what was going to be my next questions, which is the main themes of the game. So instead of having you repeat yourself, leading from that, one thing that I really love about the setting is this idea that people's destiny is predetermined, and then you play people who broke away from it, but this happened through making a pact with this Aos creature, which asks the question whether there is even freedom in Arcana Familia setting, and I think this is a very interesting thing to explore. So if you could just tell me what inspired it, and what advice would you have for people who want to explore this theme in play in their stories?
The freedom exists in Arcana Familia is like the theme of Arcana Familia, and it can very well be a chronicle in itself. How much freedom exists in your game is up to your very evil storyteller and your group of players. The entire game should be always riddled by this question over and over of I'm doing fine, but will I ever be free? Will I ever if I ever be free, it will be worthy the cost I'm paying right now, because I wanted for this to be problematic, because freedom in Arcana Familia, or simply the hope of being free one day, is not free, actually. And it's something that costs you and keep costing you for what can very well be eternity. And it's always at the back of Lost Children minds and also of House minds, because House too want to be free. Is the what I'm doing? Okay, I want to be free, but I am just justified in what I'm doing just because I want to be free. Freedom is worth what I'm doing. If you want to, you can have this element of the game strong and present as much as you want. It can just be a general mood, or it can be the focus of an entire chronicle as you wish. The more you want to put it up front, and the more you put, at least in my opinion and my way of running a game, put your characters and your players in front of difficult choices, and choices that make them question what they are doing, and what compromises they are willing to make. Because Arcana Familia is not a like humanitarian organization. They are ruthless. They have their own agenda. Basically, every lost child has their own agenda, and always you should make the players aware that just because they receive an order doesn't mean that obeying that order is the most rightful moral choice for them. So, yes, I'm a fan of Vampire the Masquerade. I know.
Well, we both are here. That sounds really great. Thank you. I think this is very exciting. And what you said about us wanting to be free actually leads to another question that both I have on my list and came up in your Discord server, which is how do you recommend playing one? Because normally, from what I understood, you play two characters in Arcana Familia, a Lost Child and somebody else's Aros. So how do you recommend playing one?
Yes.
And
you can
what kind of
between players
and what kind of things do you think can be explored through playing this creature?
Okay, owls are fun, in my opinion, because in the way I created them, every house is a species on its own. Every house is completely different from the others, have its own quirks, its own personality and goals, and so on. They are loosely split between in large families, more akin to clans that to families that are called dynasties. The dynasties, as described in the book game. So you basically choose a dynasty, and that have a concept that you like and that you think your character could fit in, and then you choose what kind of physical representation it has in its own dimension. That it's very fun because you really can choose whatever you would like. It could be like a castle inside a volcano, and that can be your house. And that you choose your mask that is what you appear to be in the world. That is not so epic, but can be also fun. And house give you a lot of creativity. They have a lot of limitation in terms of what they could actually do in the world, but give the players a lot of space to explore what they want to do with a truly alien creature, and to just be as creepy and as alien as they want. You have don't be afraid of explore as role play goes. You are limited on actual mechanics, but you are extremely free as role playing goes. So use your imagination, and whatever you want to be, an house can be.
Thank you. That's exciting. Certainly a lot of things to explore there. Aurora, you created this really detailed, sprawling setting, and there's certainly a lot to take in. And this is a question coming from one of your followers, which is, what do you have to know to start a session? So if you could maybe, for everyone who's listening, just in few brief points, point out the main characteristics of the setting that define the game that should be remembered.
Okay, this was an hard one. Okay, to summarize very briefly, what you have to know. Visually speaking, is a classical cyberpunk setting. So imagine like Blade Runner and Cyberpunk, things like that. And you play an agent. Imagine something like X-Files, but you also kick ass. You both investigate, but you also are a warrior, if you want. And you make a pact with an alien creature. So you have powers normal human beings don't have, but you also have problems that normal human beings doesn't have. Meaning you have to navigate your relationship with a thing that you don't even know what it is. This is a very the very core summary of the game.
Oh, that's very good. That's very concise. Do you want to add anything to it? Did you want to say something? If not, we can move on to the next question.
Sorry?
I was wondering if you wanted to add anything. Or do you want to... We can move on to the next question.
Yes, I'm ready.
Which is also about the setting.
Okay.
Because as you mentioned, there is this organization, Arcana Familia, that gathers us, these lost children. What is the purpose that this organization serves in the setting and in the narrative? How can you use that in your stories?
Okay, the Arcana Familia, as lore and narrative goes, was created to gather all the people around the world that have made a pact with this house, but to keep an eye on them and not letting them go too wild in the world, and but to check the activities of the house, because house have their own agendas and their own goal in the world. And lost children, having made a pact with them, are the only one who can catch glimpses of what they are doing and what they are planning. So originally the organization was created for that, and under the strict surveillance of the government. But with time passing, humans are, lost children are humans after all, so they start scheming, they start making politics, and so the Arcana Familia started to have plans on their own. In game terms, I wanted for the characters to start as members of an organization, but because I liked the idea of having a structure and players and characters struggling and to adjust to the structure, and having from the start a net of NPCs and other things to interact with. So as to make the game, at least in my hope, immediately engaging and interesting. You don't have to spend much time thinking about how to get involved in plots and schemes. You are just from minute one just thrown into schemes and the plots, either if you want or not, because this is the life of a lost child. You lost child, are you doing anything? But I was thinking, okay, I have a mission for you, but I'm just okay, I go. It's basically something like this. So it was for me, in my hope at least, an easy way to get players immediately involved in action, or in politics, in scheming, without having to wait too much to be prepared for that. You are already prepared.
And that certainly gives a focus to the campaign. So the next question is about genres. Because Arcana Familia certainly crosses into several, and we have a question from a person who wants to know what, I presume roughly, percentage would you say there is of hope punk, dystopian, cyberpunk, horror, and other genres in Arcana Familia? You don't have to be too exact with it.
Okay, it's okay. The percentage of cyberpunk in the game is open to discussion, because, for example, me and my coworker and my co-author are never agreed about this. In my opinion, is much more cyberpunk than in his opinion. So I say, like, okay, 40%. And then it's, in my opinion, very punk, because you are like the things that there is a perfectly working machine, and you are the one thing that doesn't fit in the machine. So I say punk like 100%, full punk. And I'll say, okay, I don't care if at the end it will be 100% or more.
Don't worry
just
about it.
say random numbers. I say there is also a big part of horror. It's up to the storytellers and the group, actually, because you don't have to go full creepy horror if you don't want. It's just something that I like. So if I'm storytelling, I'm like the meme, oh, let's just add a bit of horror, and you like drop the whole bottle in the mix. But you don't have to do that if you don't want. It can be as creepy as you want, but I say, just to be safe, another 40% horror, just to be safe.
Well, I'm always up for creepy horror. Okay, so let's move very briefly to the system. I know you're not the designer of the system, that's your colleague.
Yes.
But you have a very interesting choice in Arcana Familia, using cards and having a system inspired by Blackjack. So I was just wondering, what do you think using this kind of Blackjack system brings to the game? I know you will not answer possibly as in depth as your colleague would, but what can you tell us about that?
Okay, I have to learn to actually learn Blackjack to play my own game. From a point of how the mechanics fit the setting, that is the part I can a bit talk about, because I will not launch myself in a speech about probabilities and so on, because that was something only my coworker that we affectionately call the madman can do. From how it fits the narrative, because fate is such a strong theme in the game, fate and predetermination and so on. We think a game system and the rules where yes, luck is always a thing. If you draw bad, it's just like you roll bad. But with a blackjackish system, there's a component of strategy in your challenges. So it's both yes, luck and fate, but also you take your fate in your own hands, at least from a point of view. So we thought this fit the system quite well. So I really like. It's actually very fun to play like this.
I must admit, I don't know how to play Blackjack, so I will have to learn it as well.
Don't worry, I have to learn it to play my own games, but
I will learn to play Arcana Familia. I'm sure I can work this out. Moving on to the next question. Coming from your Discord server, somebody wants to know, what is your favorite new power that you plan to put in the full book when it comes out?
Oh, I have a lot of idea. The one who will make the powers doable are my colleague, because I'm like, I want to put this. Okay, does it make sense? I surely wanted to put a new dynasty for the house. We have created a few, but I want more. I know that my coworker wanted to put a lot more alchemic gadgets for the players to use, like weapons or the likes. I'd like to give, because there is nothing that there is not a power right now that let you really modify emotions, like there is not a presence power for the house right now. And I like to think about something like that without being too powerful. So, or something about premonition is also something I'd like to put. We will see.
Yeah, I think both controlling emotions and premonition sound very cool. I very much like that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So we have one more question left to sum up everything we've been talking about. So if you, as a creator, were to run Arcana Familia, to present your game and your vision for it, what would your story be about? What would be the most prominent in it?
Okay, me, but it's also because of my taste in games and in role playing. I will run a game that starts with the players thrown into a heavy political situation, so they immediately understand what really is like to as I put in as the title of one of the one shot, as it really means to dancing with sharks. And then I gradually shift the focus on what lies behind the veil, meaning what the lost children, what the house actually could be, and what lost children are becoming. I'd like for the game to start from the environment and slowly focusing more on what is happening inside the characters, because one of the things I really like about the Arcana Familia is that you don't know what you are, and nobody knows. Nobody knows what really is a lost child. You know you have power. You know that you seems to not get old or die. You don't know any lost child dying of old age, but that's about it. You don't know what you're becoming. You know that all the lost children tend to mutate and becoming less and less human, but that's about what you know of yourself. And it's quite, and it's something that is frightening and interesting, and I'd like to make the players really realize that. Creepy. Okay, so.
Oh, I think that sounds
not
great, and I certainly hope to experience it. Thank you very much for answering all the questions. I've learned a lot about Arcana Familia. I'm very excited for it. And if you want to support the game, there will be a link to Aurora's Kickstarter, both in the chat on Twitch and on YouTube, in the description below. So go there, have a look, learn more, and give Aurora your support, because she has a really cool project.
Thank you.
So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Aurora. And goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.